And welcome back. I'm still here with Eric Brewer, Mayor of East Cleveland, and we're talking about the recent photo spread that came out. So now all these people are out circulating pictures, and you at this point, your father had just passed. You hadn't actually acknowledged that these pictures were you. When you finally had a chance to see the pictures, what went through your head? I mean, where were you?
I thought that they were, I wanted to know how they obtained access to them. Those pictures were private, they were personal, they were done in my home, in one other person's home. They were on my computer in my home. How does someone, in my mind, get access to what's personal?
Now here's a question I think that most of us are asking. Are you actually a cross-dresser?
Well, I think that's a good question to ask, given the light of the photographs. I am sexually uninhibited, and so that means that in the context of dealing with a particular partner and that person's taste, you know, if they have a particular interest, I'll follow what their interests are, because they hook me up, I'm going to get hooked up. And so, you know, as the Scorpio that I am, I've been, you know, single for a long time. I've traveled to some very exotic and sexy places in the time that I was in the military.
Ooh, he's making me uncomfortable, y'all. Okay, go ahead. Come on.
Is this that kind of stuff?
No, I'm just.
You need a little tissue
I'm
here.
with you. I'm with you. You've traveled all over the place.
Bangkok, Mexico, I mean, Philippines. I've been to some very interesting places, and as a soldier, I saw a lot of things, and so. You know, one of the things that most people don't know about me is that when I started publishing, I originally wanted to be the Black Larry Flint. And so I was very much interested in publishing an adult publication geared towards the African-American community. I even, at one point, wrote articles for Reuben Sturman's publications, and Reuben had an office. His offices was headquartered here. He was the world's largest pornographer at the time. So, you know, as a writer, you know, you really kind of explore boundaries and limits that most people don't explore, and so I've learned a lot and experienced quite a bit, and I've had some great times. And so that's the extent of what I'm going to say. The rest of it is nobody's business.
But why did you hang on to the pictures for so long?
It's not so much hanging on.
How old are they?
I have no idea. I've got files that go back years in some of my, I mean, you know, Microsoft Word, photographs.
Are you the pack rat type?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. So you just have stuff.
So you've got all this stuff, and it's on your computer.
It's not there anymore. You can bet your bottom dollar.
Okay, I bet. Okay, and so now these pictures are now out.
Yes.
Okay, and everybody. I mean these pictures, because of the social medias and the things that we have these days, email, internet, I mean, they have literally spanned the globe.
You know, when you say that, I was, the night that I really sat down and started looking at the impact of all of this, and I started looking at some of the news reports online, and I started typing my name and associating it with different, you know, fetish things, I saw this preponderance of media on this particular thing. I thought, what the hell? Canada, Australia, England, France, Denmark, on the news in Brazil. I've got cousins in Baltimore, family in California, Texas. I mean, it's just all over the place. The celebrity websites, Perez Hilton, D-Listed, D-Zone, Comedy Central. Somebody said Craig Ferguson. I didn't even know who Craig Ferguson was until last week. But Craig Ferguson did a monologue on it, and I'm thinking, what's the big interest? You know, this is a small city, no big deal. I mean, it's not the first time that a politician has been caught up in something like this. I'm certainly not a Congress member or a senator or a governor. You know, I'm not like the governor of New Jersey or the governor of South Carolina.
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal?
Did you see yourself in those stockings and the little boy shorts? Oh, you must not have seen it.
Sounds real.
I mean, it was a nice spread. I mean, you know, maybe it was just that you actually look nice, because you're not the first that have been caught cross-dressing, but maybe it was just that...
You know, cross-dressing and wearing women's clothes are two different things. And putting on some lingerie and having a little fun and getting a great hookup are two different things. But I do hear you, because it is a... you know, it was something a little different. You know, I read some of the blog comments, and somebody said I look like a gangster in drag. I kind of like that comment because I've always, you know, fashioned myself as a fairly tough guy. But I think the thing was, as I really analyzed it, I think a lot of people didn't make the distinction between Cleveland and East Cleveland.
Okay.
So I think the first blush was that this was the mayor of Cleveland, which Cleveland being a major city might have caused some interest. I don't think that if people really understood that this was a city with a population of around 25,000 and that this was a fairly obscure community as far as the public is concerned, that it would have been that big a story. That's my gut feeling.
Okay.
Now, I hear what you're saying about looking nice and all of that thing. I think some of the pictures were actually explicit, and I've not seen them. And someone indicated to me that, you know, some of the pictures had a picture of me nude with an erection. And that seemed to have caused a stir among quite a few ladies.
I suppose so.
Who recognized that I've got a few planets in Scorpio. I'll just leave it there. Is this an R-rated or X-rated show?
Well, thank God we're on cable. But
right.
It's amazing, though, because when we start to talk about how quickly it spread, I mean, this has only been, what, maybe
2 weeks.
2 weeks since they've been released. And you've literally had them all over the place. How is this affecting you? I mean, emotionally, how and by the way, tell us exactly what happened with the election. What was the outcome of the election?
Well, I lost the election. I was expected to win the election. The opponent that I had was really a nothing candidate, a guy who missed 24 meetings. He'd been the council president. He really accomplished nothing. He was pushing his academics, his 2 degrees, as part of his background. But here's a guy who was placed on academic probation at CSU and all these Ds. And he just really wasn't a good candidate. And so we expected to win. I had kept all my commitments to the residents. But I thought those pictures were shocking to people. And I think that even if it had not been me but someone else, I probably would not have either voted or I might have voted against that person. So I think that hurt. I think the other thing is the reaction for me was not so much for me but my son, because I'd been hearing for over a year that there had been some pictures out there circulating around the city. I heard about 5 months ago, and he sent an email to me kind of taunting me about the photographs. And so I kind of knew they were there. But my attitude is and has been that what happens at my home with me and whoever I'm with is between me and that person. And it was nobody's business. I didn't think the media would broadcast those pictures. I was more concerned about my son and the impact on my son than anything else.
And your son is how old?
He's 23.
Okay.
And he's my heart. He's my only child, and he's, you know.
And how's he dealing with this?
I think it was a little rough for him at first.
Okay.
I think, you know, his ego as my son is tied to his father to a great degree. There's a degree of pride that he's had in the work that I've accomplished and who I've been to him and to the community. I think that that affected him. And the initial reaction is to run away and hide. But you can't do that. Life is going to follow you wherever you go. So you kind of gird yourself up, and that's why I held the press conference the next day. And began to address it after I spoke to my attorneys and got some direction from them about what to say and what not to say.
Now, I am so glad that you're here, but and let me say this, he will be back. We'll do another session. So you guys, we can talk about this issue of privacy and a number of other things as far as our obsession with peeking inside of people's homes and seeing exactly what they're doing. But having said all that, I'm so glad that you're here, that we had this opportunity to talk, and we're going to wrap this up so we can come back and give you some more information about what we're doing, because I think this is fascinating stuff. I'm Sandra Bishop. You're watching Thrive. I want you to stay right there. I'll be right back.